Welcome to another drill analysis segment from Chiron Performance, where I help coaches design more meaningful practices using the science of skill acquisition so they can learn to win. Footy season is upon us in Australia. For those not familiar with Australian sport, that can mean something completely different depending on where you live. In this week's installment, though, I'm going to focus on Aussie rules, which is what most people would assume you mean when you say footy in our southern and western states. This week's drill is a passing triangle. The idea is to get players used to passing in traffic and avoiding other players, which is supposed to help with their peripheral vision. Passing triangles and squares are fairly common in sports like football and rugby, and I think they serve their purpose. They can be helpful with getting players used to ball handling and working in traffic, which is probably the thing I like most about this drill. A lot of times you'll see teams do a drill like this without the added risk of running into other players. So I like that in this drill the complexity is amped up a bit by having two triangles overlap. It also presents a great opportunity to change the drill to make it easier. In a younger group, you could have the players doing the drill with only a single triangle to remove the added issue of having to contend with other players coming at you. I also like that the player has to execute the pass while they're moving rather than many of the stationary passing drills you see. This also has the added benefit of providing the receiver with a more genuine feed. The passes they get aren't always nice and easy. They come from different angles and heights depending on how the passer is moving. I think there are certainly some opportunities to improve or progress this drill. One of the big questions I would ask is whether we could make the drill a little bit more realistic or accomplish the same goals by switching to a small-sided game. When I compare this drill to the way the skill is executed in games, two missing pieces are defenders to provide opposition and the inclusion of a decision-making component. When we look at this drill, the direction players are moving and the location of the receiver are known in advance. By switching to a small-sided game, you could quite easily maintain the goals of the drill while making things a bit less predictable and incorporating opposition and decision-making. If you had two teams passing a ball in a small space, you could still have players learning how to pass in traffic and developing their peripheral vision. But you would also develop their ability to learn to pass around defenders and make decisions about the appropriate team to pass to. Switching to a small-sided game would also make it really easy to manipulate the complexity of the drill. A coach could change the number of players involved on each team and/or the size of the playing area to make the drill easier or harder and to practice passing under different conditions. In summary, I like that this drill has a bit of complexity built into it, and that it requires players to practice their passing and receiving skills on the fly. I think there's a real opportunity to change the drill while maintaining the outcomes by switching to a small-sided game, however. This would allow for the passing skill to be trained against opposition and with decision-making involved. It would also allow for progressions of the drill to be implemented quite easily. That's another drill assessment in the books. I can help you transform your coaching and take your drills to the next level. Get in touch with me through my website, www.learntowin.com.au, or shoot an email to derek@learntowin.com.au.